Christmas text. Don't come. The next morning, 2 moving boxes waited. On Christmas Eve, my dad sent me a text that said, "Thanks for existing. Don't come." No explanation, no greeting, just those cold 6 words. I sat there, staring at my phone, hoping the message would change into something nicer if I just looked long enough. It didn't. They were all there, my parents, my sister, celebrating Christmas like a happy family, and I was the one left out. For the past year and a half, I've been covering everything, rent, food, bills, while living with my sister. She lost her job, or so she said, and while she figured things out, I paid for everything without complaining, because that's what family does, right? That night, before she went to our parents' Christmas dinner, she casually told me, "I told them you're just squatting here, since your name's not on the lease." She didn't say it jokingly, she said it like it was the truth. I froze, staring at her, confused. "You told them what?" I asked. She rolled her eyes. "It's not a big deal. I just didn't want them thinking you're living here for free. It's easier this way." "But I'm paying rent," I said, quietly. "Yeah, but they don't need to know that," she said, and then she left. I didn't text or call her. I just sat there, feeling small, staring at the Christmas lights I'd put up. How many more years would I keep paying for everything for people who made me feel like I didn't belong? By midnight, I made a decision. I went to the closet, grabbed the toolkit, and changed the locks. I didn't feel guilty. When I went to bed, the apartment felt quieter, safer, like it was finally mine. The next morning, I heard keys trying to unlock the door, then came the knocking, pounding, and finally silence. I didn't open the door. Instead, I left 2 gift-wrapped boxes on the doormat. One was medium-sized, tied with a ribbon, and the other was small and still moving. It all started small: groceries, rent, then her student loans, which she promised she'd pay back soon. When she got fired again, I didn't ask questions. I just kept stepping in, covering the costs. I worked extra shifts, sold my laptop, and gave up everything. I convinced myself it was temporary, that I was just helping my sister, but it became routine, and then an obligation, and eventually it all just turned into silence. What do you even say to someone who lets you pay their bills and then tells your parents you're just squatting in your apartment? I should have seen it coming. Alina had always been good with words. She knew how to make herself look like the victim and me like the problem. Growing up, she cried her way out of trouble. Now, as an adult, she cried her way into everyone's wallet, especially our parents'. To them, she was the creative one, and I was the serious, cold one. But cold is what you become when love comes with conditions. I stopped going to family dinners months ago, not because I didn't want to see them, but because I couldn't keep pretending. Every conversation turned into guilt trips about money. "You're the stable one. She's struggling. You know she has a delicate spirit. Why are you so difficult?" they'd say. I was tired of paying for everything, tired of being the only responsible one, tired of waking up in an apartment I paid for, only to be told I was the problem. The moment it hit me came 3 weeks before Christmas. I'd just finished a 12-hour shift and grabbed takeout for both of us. I put the bag on the table, but Alina didn't even look up from her phone. "Can you Venmo me?" she asked casually. "For my part of the takeout?" I blinked. "You mean the takeout I bought with my card, while you haven't paid rent in 3 months? She shrugged. "Yeah, but you chose to do that. I didn't ask you. You've been asking me all year." And that's when it hit me. She wasn't using me out of desperation. She was using me because I let her. A week later, I saw the credit card bill. It wasn't mine. It was hers, or should have been. The problem was the bill was under my name. I sat on my bed, staring at the balance. $6,438.72, spent on makeup, electronics, clothes, a spa, and even a tattoo deposit. I called the company, and they confirmed the account was opened using my social security number. I didn't confront her right away. I just stayed quiet, watched her act like everything was normal, even though I knew she was using my identity. I was planning to say something in the new year, but then Christmas came, and my dad sent that message. "Thanks for existing. Don't come." That night, Alina sipped wine and said with a smirk, "I mean, you can't expect them to see you as family when you act like a tenant. You don't belong." So, I changed the locks. I left her the gifts I had bought for her, but I added one more. Inside the second box was a copy of the credit card bill with her name on it, highlighted in red, and a flash drive with audio files of her bragging about using me. One recording had her saying, "Honestly, he deserves it. He's like a bank with no fees. Why wouldn't I take advantage?" The box shook a little because I had hidden my phone inside, set on vibrate, buzzing nonstop to make her feel how I felt all year, confused, shaken. I was in the kitchen when I heard the banging at the door. It wasn't just knocking. It was banging like someone was trying to break it down. I wasn't surprised. What surprised me was how calm I felt. I opened the door slowly. There she was, Alina, hair a mess, eyeliner smudged, and rage all over her face. "What's this?" she yelled, holding up the silver box like it might explode. I shrugged. "A Christmas gift." It was shaking. "I know, but did you open it?" She stared at me, then shut her mouth. "You should," I said, moving aside. "Come in, since you don't have keys anymore." She stormed in, dropping the box on the table. The ribbon was half undone. She ripped the lid off and just stared. Inside was a pile of printed texts where she called me a freeloader and just a paycheck, a flash drive labeled, "For Dad, play this if you still have a spine," and a sticky note that said, "Your lease is up, emotionally and otherwise." Her eyes were wild as she turned to me. "You're heartless." "No," I said, "just done." My phone buzzed with a call from Dad. I put it on speaker. "Son, what's going on? Your sister just showed us what you left her." "That's cruel. What happened to family?" I laughed. "You mean the family that told me not to come to Christmas?" "That wasn't about you," he snapped. "You've been distant. You shut yourself off." "You told me not to come," I said, and I listened. Alina grabbed the phone from me. "Dad, he's gone crazy. He changed the locks. He's stalking me. He planted." "Oh, please," I said, taking the phone back. "Why don't you tell him what's really in that box?" There was a pause. "Dad," I said, "do you know someone's been using my name to open credit accounts? Someone's $6,438 in debt under my name?" "No," Alina shouted. "He's making that up." "Then why does Capital One have her email on an account with my social security number?" I said. "Why are there receipts from places she shops at, in my name?" "Nothing. But the best part," I added, walking to the shelf and pulling out a small speaker, "is this." I pressed play. Her voice filled the room. "He's just so easy to manipulate. He always feels guilty. I could burn down the apartment and he'd still pay my phone bill." Her face went pale. "That's out of context," she whispered. "Really?" I raised an eyebrow. "What about, he deserves to suffer?" Dad was quiet. So was she. And then, there was a knock. A soft knock. I opened the door. It was Mom. And behind her was Mike, Alina's ex. "What's going on?" Alina started. "I need to talk to you," Mike said, looking at me. His voice was shaking, but not with fear, anger. "I just found out someone used my name too. 2 iPhones ordered last month. A hotel booked in my name. They called me for payment today." He looked at Alina. "Was it you?" She looked shocked. "Why would I do that?" He looked at the box on the table. Flash drive. Printed texts. Speaker still on. "I think you should leave," he said. "Now." "What?" she snapped. "I'm staying here," Mike said, stepping inside. "What do you mean, here?" "I mean, if you'll let me stay for a few days. I think we've both been played by the same person. Maybe it's time to stop playing her game." Alina blinked, stunned. "You're siding with him?" "I'm done siding with liars." She stood there, speechless for the first time. No act, no fake tears, no manipulation, just silence. "Don't worry," I said, tossing her coat on the chair. "Your stuff is in the hallway, next to the trash. You can guess which is which." She left. No more threats, no more guilt, just footsteps down the hall and the sound of the elevator closing. The next morning, the silence in my apartment wasn't empty anymore. It felt earned. I stood in the kitchen, holding a mug of reheated coffee, watching the steam rise. I expected to feel guilty or regretful, but I didn't. There was no ache in my chest, just peace. Mike was still asleep on the couch, wrapped in the blanket I gave him. He hadn't said much after Alina left, just muttered, "Finally," and passed out. When he woke up, he saw the laptop open on the table and raised an eyebrow. Already working? He asked. I'm getting my money back, I said. He sat up, rubbing his face. What, like pressing charges? More than that, I said, turning the screen toward him. This is going to be official. Step 1. The claim. I had already started gathering proof the night Alina left. I had folders, real folders, of documentation, screenshots, bank records, receipts. I filed an official identity theft report and contacted the financial companies. Capital One responded first. They flagged the account and started an investigation. By Friday, I got an email. You have been approved for full reimbursement. $6,438.72 back in your account. I leaned back in my chair, feeling a relief I hadn't in days, but I wasn't done. Step 2. The calculation. I opened a spreadsheet and started adding up everything I had paid for. 18 months of supporting 2 people. Rent, $950 per month. Utilities, $180 average. Groceries, $400 per. Emergencies, $100 to $500. I kept scrolling. By the end, I had spent $17,892, not including the emotional cost, not counting the double shifts and meals I skipped to keep up. I took screenshots and called a lawyer. Step 3. The lawsuit. I'm not just here because she used my credit, I told the lawyer. I want restitution. She used me for over a year, and our parents enabled it. The lawyer smiled. Do you have proof? I slid the flash drive over to him. He plugged it in, scrolled through it, and his eyes widened. You've got everything. Every dollar. And your parents. Looks like they added you to utility bills without your permission. He whistled. This isn't just identity theft. This is financial exploitation. So we've got a case? I asked. Oh yeah, he said, leaning back. We've got a very public one. Step 4. The explosion. 3 weeks later, 3 letters from my lawyer showed up at my parents' house. One for Alina, one for Mom, and one for Dad. My phone rang. I picked up. What are you doing? She snapped. Good morning to you too, I said. You're suing us after everything we've done for you? Done to me, I corrected. Let's not twist it. We're your family, she said. You were also co-signers on utility bills and added me without consent. That's fraud. It was just paperwork, she said. It was theft. You're blowing this out of proportion. You told me not to come to Christmas. The line went quiet. Then her voice dropped. We raised you. I paid for everything. I was never staying. I was supporting. There's a difference. Step 5. The ally. 3 days later, my grandmother called. I hadn't heard from her in months. Not since Alina told me, Nana's tired of your drama. Don't call her anymore. But now, her voice was firm. I saw the lawsuit, she said, and I saw the bank statement. My heart sank. You saw the bond? She sighed. Your father cashed out $9,000 from a savings bond in your name. He used it to pay off Alina's old car. I sat down. You didn't know? She asked. I didn't know there was a bond, I said. Well, she said, there isn't anymore. I was stunned. What's left? She asked, moving the account. It's yours again, where it should have been. I didn't know how to respond. Then she added, I've also rewritten my will. You'll get my house when I'm gone. I know you'll do the right thing with it. I blinked. Nana, why? Because, she said, you're the only one who never asked for anything, and you're the only one who kept receipts. In the courtroom, Alina walked in wearing beige, like she was trying to get sympathy. Mom wore black. Dad didn't look at me. My lawyer showed everything. Pages of statements, recordings, text messages, fraud, misused power of attorney, fake accounts, stolen savings bonds. Alina tried to cry. Mom claimed she was confused. Dad just looked tired. But the judge wasn't tired. Did you list your son's name on financial documents without his consent? She asked. My mother. I mean, yes or no? There was silence. Yes, Mom whispered. The judge's decision came quickly. $13,000 in restitution, all fraudulent debts cleared, court costs paid, and a formal warning on their records. 2 weeks later, I got a letter, handwritten. No return address. Alina's writing. I knew it right away. Are you happy now? You made your point. Inside was a picture of us as kids, sitting under a Christmas tree. I stared at the photo, seeing how she clung to me like I was her balance. I grabbed a pen. On the back, I wrote, "You let go first." Then I burned the photo. It's strange how silence sounds when you've earned it. 3 months after the court ruling, I hadn't heard from my parents. No texts, no calls, not even a birthday card. And you know what? That was fine. I didn't have to explain myself anymore. No more, "You should understand how hard Alina has it." No more, "You're the stable one. We need you." For the first time, my life was truly mine. The same apartment, but it felt different, like I belonged there. The fridge was filled with food I bought, not stuff for someone who'd called me a squatter. The air felt still, not heavy with tension. There were no more complaints about Wi-Fi, clogged sinks, or passive-aggressive notes. The silence? That was new. The peace? That was strange, quiet, and powerful. The cost. Sometimes people ask, wasn't it hard to cut off your family? My answer is always the same: it was necessary. For years, I shrank myself to fit their comfort, ignored their insults, paid bills to avoid conflict, let them guilt-trip me. The real cruelty was how long I let it go on. When I stopped being the obedient son and generous brother, I saw the truth. They didn't miss me, they missed what I gave them. The message. One afternoon, I got an email from someone I didn't know. The subject: "Your sister isn't doing well." It was from Tessa, one of Alina's old friends. The message was short. "She's couch hopping. Lost her job again. Says, you ruined her life. Thought you'd want to know." I stared at the screen and then hit delete. Not because I didn't care, but because caring isn't the same as going back. The last encounter. One day, I ran into my dad at a gas station. We locked eyes. He looked smaller, like someone who had no excuses left. He walked up slowly, not with anger, but with shame. "You look good," he said. I nodded. He looked down. "Your mother's still angry," he said. I stayed quiet. "She says you ruined Christmas." I raised an eyebrow. "That's funny. She started it with, 'Don't come.' I just listened." He sighed. "Family fights, son." "No," I said. "Families fight for each other. You fought for Alina. You never fought for me." He didn't answer. He just waited, like he expected me to let him back in. I didn't. I got in my car and drove away. And for the first time, I felt peace. This wasn't revenge. This was freedom. Let me make something clear. This wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about punishing anyone. It wasn't about proving I was right, even though I was. It was about letting go. Letting go of a family where love was a transaction. Letting go of guilt that wasn't mine. Letting go of the version of me that begged to be seen, heard, valued. I didn't want to destroy my family. I just stopped destroying myself to protect them. People like Alina, who take blame and twist, survive because others keep taking the damage. I stopped absorbing it, and everything fell apart, not because I broke it, but because I walked away. And for the first time, I felt alive. The unexpected closure. 2 weeks ago, I got a package. No return address. Inside was an envelope with one photograph. Me and Ellie, Alina's daughter, years ago. She was 4, sitting on my shoulders, laughing, holding my face. On the back, in shaky handwriting: "I'm sorry for how my mom treated you. Thank you for everything, Ellie." I stared at the note until my eyes blurred. I didn't know how she got my address. Maybe my grandmother. Maybe fate. But that one note made everything worth it. I keep that photo in my desk drawer now, not because it ties me to the past, but because it reminds me. Walking away doesn't mean you stop loving. It means you start loving yourself more. That's not revenge. That's freedom.